Welcome back to Talking Shop with Shop Saver. I'm Brandon. We're back with the gang. I guess I'm back. You guys were all here last week. But yeah, episode 109. Is that right? 109?
Yep.
109. And yeah, I know you guys had a little fun last week, it sounded like.
Yep.
Yeah, it was good.
What'd you guys talk about?
You?
Me?
Go-karts?
Go-karts? That's cool. Was it Mario Kart? Did you guys compare me to Mario?
Similar.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, you guys talked about what? Building company culture last
Company
week, right?
culture, kind of what business culture
That's cool.
needed to be, yeah.
I know this week we're going to talk a little bit about rebuilding versus replacing. But before we kick that off, how was the week without me, guys?
Quiet. I didn't get yelled at once. It was unbelievable.
I saved them all up for this week.
It was normal.
Yeah, normal. Did you guys have a good week, though?
Yeah.
Did you guys
Just
do anything
productive.
fun? Go golfing at all last week?
Worked from home for 2 days.
That's cool. That
was fun.
that's always good. I'm glad you worked from home. That's nice. Did anybody work from the office last week?
Micah.
I think Micah was the only one that was here all week.
Oh, that's nice. Good for Micah.
We even got Jose to dip with us for a little bit.
Oh, that's nice. Did you go golfing, Chad?
This weekend, yep.
You did?
Yep, shot my personal best, actually.
Really?
91.
Nice.
Getting-
Congratulations.
Almost getting into the 80s.
Isn't that the same temperature now as it is outside? That's a good thing when they say you can golf the temperature. Isn't that what people say?
Yeah, even better when you can golf your age.
Is that a real thing?
When you get old, yeah.
People can actually golf their age?
Yeah, like when you're 80 and you can shoot
Oh,
80. That's pretty
that makes
sweet.
sense.
I didn't think about that.
That's perfect. Can't wait till I'm 140.
See, Chad just needed to be motivated by the PGA and the Live coming together, doing whatever they're
Well,
doing.
I was the one that orchestrated that whole deal. I was behind the scenes, me, Tiger, Greg Norman.
Rory kind of got it all.
Well,
hashed
we
out.
left him out. He's
Oh, man.
Oh, you just left him out, huh? That's awesome. Cool. So, no, that's good for you, though. I mean, in all seriousness, laughing aside, congratulations on your personal best. That's a pretty big accomplishment.
it's always nice.
Yeah.
Keep me coming back.
Yeah, it keeps you spending that money. Keeps you spending that money. I like it. Travis, what'd you do this weekend? Do I want to know? What'd you break?
A lot of pool time.
Pool time?
Yeah, and spent some time.
Surprised that pool's still holding water.
I've got it figured out now.
I figured you'd have a jet ski in it by now.
My kid's doing his damnedest to try to put a hole in it, but I'm not letting him.
Well, he's a kid. That's what they're supposed to
He
do.
keeps trying to bring like his big metal trucks and stuff in there. I'm like, dude, this is a pool liner. You know, you even look at it, and it's gonna, get a hole in it. But
Hey, Taylor.
Who wants to see me do a big ass stunt?
he does a lot of cannonballs
I
off the
believe
ladder,
it,
and
yeah.
the ladders on these cheap above ground pools are not designed. I've even done it, 221 pounds, and I get that thing flexing when I'm doing a
I can't
cannonball.
wait till it breaks before he jumps.
I put pool noodles on the bottom of it so that it doesn't puncture the bottom of the pool, but we'll see how long it lasts.
That's awesome. What about you, Nick? Anything fun?
Hayden had his graduation from high school ceremony Saturday night, and then me and Natalie volunteered at the all-night grad party. So I got to deal blackjack for like 5 hours till like 2 a.m. We didn't get home till like 4 by the time they gave all the prizes out. So
Were you talking trash to a bunch of high schoolers?
for the first couple hours, and after that, I was just like,
You
"You
were
guys
over
are
it.
kind of annoying. I'm getting tired. It's like midnight. You're trying to make me count numbers and not mess it up. Just take the chips and get out of here." I was kind of just over it.
By the end of the night, it was just,
Pretty much, yeah. So then we got home at like 4 a.m. on Sunday, and I pretty much just slept off and on all day Sunday. It was just
oh, yeah.
kind of a nightmare.
Can't blame
It
you.
was fun.
But
It
hey,
was
congratulations. He's out of high school now.
fun. Yeah,
So now he's off to college?
he is. Yeah, he's going to be a diesel mechanic.
Really?
Yeah. he's
Good
going
for
to-
him.
That's what's
Going
up.
to tech school for that. And yeah.
Sweet.
cool.
Good for him.
Yeah, it was actually at, they had the party at a place called Whirly Ball in Bloomington.
Oh, yeah.
You like ride around on bumper cars and play like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like lacrosse. With
Yeah, it's a
the
sweet-
wiffle ball.
it's a
Yeah,
sweet
really
place.
Cool.
Yeah.
It was fun. So I
That'd
hopped.
be awesome.
Yeah, so I hopped in a couple times and played with them, and
That's
it
cool.
was fun. Yeah, they have a bowling alley in there, laser tag, all sorts of cool stuff. So it was fun.
In Bloomington?
Yeah, right behind Mall of America.
Yeah, it's called the
that's
World.
why.
Yeah. You don't go to that side of town, do you?
I don't go by the mall.
Tries to stay away from the IKEA.
That, there's a little water park. I didn't know they have a bowling alley in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
The Great Wolf is right over there, the water park.
Yeah. All
Is it right next to the water park?
No, it's like kind of kitty corner.
Kitty
from
corner.
The backside, the other side of the mall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Opposite side.
By Chevy's, the Mexican place.
Oh, okay.
Right by there.
By the IHOP.
Yep.
Yeah. Now you know.
Wish it was a Waffle House.
Still not gonna go there.
Chad knows where it's at, and he knows where to avoid.
I already got a bowling alley I like in Bloomington.
I already got one. I don't need another one. Besides, you got to be practicing for your new career, apparently, of golf.
PGA is a close second, or the PBA.
PBA. Pro Bowlers Association. Yeah.
That's true.
You could be a pro golfer and a pro bowler. That'd be pretty sweet.
That would be sweet.
Are you going to enter in any tournaments soon?
No.
I really expected since you hit your personal best, you were going to be like, yes.
They keep talking about doing a league, but
Oh, there's golf league? That's a thing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't
it's
know
like
that was a thing.
bowling league.
That's cool. It's like there are levels then? Like if you're in a league, like you get to join with people with the same skill level?
It's like bowling where they have the handicap.
Handicap, yeah.
So everyone is pretty even.
Got it. So it kind of evens itself out so you can be competitive.
Correct.
Yeah.
What do they do for a guy that shoots like 140?
They tell
Kick you off the league.
Take 2 weeks off and then quit. That's what
Okay.
they tell you.
Cool. Awesome. That's what I'll do then. But yeah, I just wanted to ask you guys how your weekend was. My week was fun. I'm gonna say that I got to travel all over North Dakota and Canada to go racing, and I raced on the moon. I'm pretty sure of that. Second night, Southwest Speedway, Dickinson, North Dakota. That place is like moon dust. Craziest racetrack I've ever seen. They put water on it and it looks dry. When it's dry, it's super wet. Like it looked dry, you step on it, you almost fall down.
That's weird.
It was the craziest dust and dirt I've ever raced on in my entire life. And it was an absolute blast. I took my kid out on a four-wheeler. We were riding his four-wheeler around. My kids had a blast, and we went to go ride around the track. Every track I ride around it just to kind of get a feel for what the track's like before I go out there. And that's how I found out it was wet. Like it looked dry, and I was like, "Oh my god, this place is gonna be dry." So me and my son, we're on a four-wheeler. We go ripping out there. My kid was covered in mud when we were done. Like, had no idea how wet it was about to be. And we got out there. He's like, "Dad, I'm getting really muddy." And I looked at him. I'm like, "Yes, you are." Nothing we can do now, kid. Yeah, it was pretty funny. We had a lot of fun though. The whole family went with me. This is the first tour that the family made the whole trip. Usually they meet up with me for a few nights and then head home. But the boys are getting old enough now where they can withstand the 8-hour car ride. And kids were awesome. Place was awesome. Like I said, we had a lot of fun. So if you're listening to this show out in those areas, mad respect. I love your guys' area out there. I got to drive through the Black Hills. Went to Saskatchewan, Canada. That was pretty fun. They let me through the border twice. That was cool. In and out.
And then you won, eh?
I won. I'm undefeated in Canada. No big deal. Undefeated. But it was a lot of fun. We had a good time. The one thing that I did find out though is Canada lets you in a lot easier than the United States. Going in, they were like, "What are you here for?" I'm like, "Racing." They're like, "Okay, can I see your passport?" I'm like, "Yes." And they looked at it and they said, "Have fun." That was it. No questions. Just you're good. I'm like, "Cool." So we take off. Coming back, a lot more questions. Want to know a lot more about why I was coming back with a trailer full of stuff. Like, I'm like, it's all the stuff I brought to Canada with me. It's still my stuff, same stuff. But they had a lot more questions. But you know what they really were worried about? Did I have any fruit with me? They really grilled me on that. Fruit. They want to know if I had fresh fruit. I got asked 3 times if I had fresh fruit.
What the hell for?
I don't know, but that's what I cared about. Apparently, I was smuggling a bunch of fruit.
Right, Canada must have better fruit than us, I guess.
Should have said, no, I have drugs.
I know. Like, they never asked that question. They were like, "Do you have anything illegal on you?" No, nothing. They were like, "Do you have fresh fruit?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "What about pineapple?" I'm like, "That's fruit. No, don't have any of that." Grapes, still fruit and still no. Like you can ask me all many ways you want. I'm gonna still say no. I have no fruit with me.
They just wait for it to slip up.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah. Oh, then they ask the kids questions too. That was my favorite thing. They made me roll the windows down, and then they asked my boys questions. My boy's 8. You know he's gonna say whatever he wants to say. So I'm like, oh, here we go. And like by the time we were done, he was asking the guy for stickers, and the guy was like, "Okay, I'm done with this kid." My kid was not done with him though. My kid kept grilling him questions. I'm like, "Yeah, you open this can of worms, buddy. You asked him the questions, so you deal with him." Yeah, Caden kept asking him. "So, do you have any stickers?" Like, because whenever we go see like the police officers in town, like they always have stickers in their cars,
Yep.
Well, to him, it's just he saw another police officer, right? So he wanted stickers, and he asked him 3 times for him. The guy never even said no, never said yes, never said no. Just ignored the question. Went on to his next question, and would ask him like, "Who's the guy that you're riding with?" And he goes, "Brandon." And I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna go well." He's like, "What do you call him?" And my other son yells out, "Daddy!" I'm like, "Good answer." But it was funny. My oldest answered Brandon. It was pretty good. But
Did Brandon make you put any wrapped packages in your backpack?
do you have anything in your kid's backpack there? No, it was pretty fun. We had a good time though, and like I said, we got to. Oh, my kids when we went to Canada, they ordered chicken tenders and French fries. Well, in Canada, they offer you gravy with fries every time. My kids were so confused why they kept getting asked if they wanted gravy every time they ordered fries. They looked at me with the most like awkward look on their face, like, "Dad, what is wrong with them? Why do they keep asking me for gravy?" I'm like, "Buddy, it's just their thing up here. Like they do gravy with it." It
I
was
would have
pretty
been
funny.
stoked.
It was
Gravy
awesome.
would be awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome. I loved every minute of it. So
Are you
that's
gonna
my
move
story.
there?
No, I'm not moving there. I'm staying here, Chad.
Well, you said you
Nice
loved
try.
it.
Nice try. Nice try there, bud.
Figured you'd be a Canadian.
I am undefeated in Canada. I might go there. I'm undefeated. But yeah, no, it was a good time. Like I said, I can say a lot of good things about my visit there.
It would have been great if your kid would have told the dude that he didn't bring any gravy back with him either.
That would have been funny. No, Caden didn't say much about it. He did ask him a bunch of questions though, and I was laughing. But yeah, that's what I know today. So now I guess we should talk a little bit about rebuilding and replacing, huh?
Let's do it.
Let's talk a little bit about it. You know, honestly, I thought of this topic before I went on my vacation, but what made me think of it was, there's a lot of people right now that kind of go through that phase where they're either having to rebuild, or if they're going to replace something, they're trying to determine what the next direction with their company is, right? Whether they're replacing a piece of equipment or rebuilding a piece of equipment. And, I just think that, a lot of people who own equipment, they continuously rebuild things versus replacing them sometimes and it would just be money ahead to just replace the piece of equipment. But how many times do you guys run into situations where you're talking to customers and they're talking about rebuilding the machine that they've rebuilt times before?
It happens.
Pretty often.
Yeah, you run into that quite frequently. I think about it and I'm like, how you think about like our grandfather's ages, right? I think of my grandfather. That's why I ask. Is like, he came from a time where he fixed everything, and I think it was because back then everything was fixable. You could fix everything because I think historically equipment and things back then were built better. Let's put it that way. There's a lot of stuff that comes in from overseas nowadays that isn't built the same. And it's built for price, not quality.
Yep.
And so as that happens, now we've kind of gotten the mindset like when something breaks. As an example, my TV, right? TV goes out, I replace the TV. I don't rebuild the TV, right? But years ago, TV goes out, they had people who repaired TVs, right? You bring it to the store, they repair it. Like, I think about things like that. Even right now, I'm having an issue with the lawnmower. My wife broke the lawnmower, just for the record. She drove it one time and broke it. But even that, like, we tore it apart, and just the part that I need to replace on the lawnmower is $1,100. So you get to the point where it's like, is this used lawnmower that I got 2 years ago now, I guess, 2 years ago, worth an $1,100 part? And if so, I put one in it and then something else fails, right?
Yep.
So you have to start like weighing that option. Like, should I just replace it? Yeah, it's gonna cost me a little bit more to replace the lawnmower right now, but I know then everything's new on it. I know, like, I wasn't the original owner of this lawnmower that I have. It came with the property that we purchased, and so unfortunately, it's like, am I gonna put $1,100 into something that just is gonna fail on me again in 3 months? Like, I don't know. And I think that's what people need to start thinking about when it comes to, CNC equipment and that topic. And so, again, my grandfather came from an age where he fixed everything, and I come from a time where we kind of replace things, right? What's your guys' thoughts on that? I mean, where do you guys stand on that topic?
As far as fixing versus replacing,
Yeah.
I think that older stuff was definitely built better, so you have to replace newer items more often. But like just fixing my car, the engine went out, and I was in a position where I had to fix it. But now I'm sitting here thinking, like, when is the next shoe gonna drop?
Yeah. And we were talking about that a little bit, Chad. Like, when your engine went out, even back, like, when, again, grandfather's age, right? They would have taken that engine out and fixed it, right? Rebuilt the engine. They wouldn't even give you an option to do that. It was just like, no, I can get you a remanufactured one, a used one, or a brand new one.
Yep, basically. Same
mean-
with like transmissions too.
Yeah. I guess, Nick, you're going through something similar right now, right? You had some car troubles.
Yep.
And did they give you the option to fix it, or was it more of replacing the parts?
No, basically, we just it's shot. Need a new one.
Yeah.
Like, just took one peek at it, and that was the decision. I'm sure, it probably could be fixed, but the cost and the time and the energy that gets put into the fixing that, is it really worth it? It's probably at the end of the day, probably not.
Yeah.
Be my guess, and that's why they're saying that. But or it's just easier to replace it, and somebody doesn't want to spend that time rebuilding it because it's kind of the way we work right now, right?
Yeah.
Easier to replace it and not try to fix it.
Well, you spend so much money on the person's time to go in to look at everything, replace it, put it all back together. It's cheaper for a guy to just rip it out and put it back in.
For sure. Yep. 100%.
And then send the engine off to somebody who that's the only thing they do is to tear it apart, inspect it, rebuild it, and then resell it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Somebody that actually, it's what they do with their time, right? They just
they have
rebuild
a-
engines and resell it, and
a
that's
shop
their
and
career. Yeah.
A business set up for it versus just a guy whose engine went out.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's look at it from a CNC standpoint, right? If a machine goes down in your business, do you have the time necessarily to sit there and rebuild it?
no.
Typically, no.
You're gonna be
Especially if the
dependent
parts
on
are
it.
most people when I hear them, they're like, well, we're trying to figure out if we're going to replace or try to fix our CNC. The biggest thing is most of these companies aren't around anymore. When I'm talking to customers, they're saying we're just trying to find parts for this thing.
Yeah.
Most of them are kind of like myself. I feel like I'm somewhat handy, so I try to fix everything I possibly can.
Yeah.
But there's a certain time and place where, especially if it's something that's making your business money,
Yeah.
it's not going to be worth it because again, most of these people are telling me, well, this thing's been nickeling and diming me for the last 5 years. I just need to get it another year. It's like, well, if you do get this thing fixed for another year potentially, you're still doing the same thing you're doing with me right now. You're going to replace it. So most people, I think it just makes sense in CNC specific, replace it because most of them you can't get support or parts for them anyhow.
Well, and that machine that they're going to replace it with is going to cost more in a year when they do it. Plus, they already
Correct.
spent that money to fix
Correct.
the one that's broken and all the downtime they had not selling things when they could have just brought a new one in.
Correct. You're wasting more money sitting there trying to fix something when you've got jobs to do versus just buying the new machine that has a warranty, has the support, all of that stuff that comes with it because you're going to do it inevitably down the road anyhow.
Yeah, and I think, you guys both made good points there. I think it's not like in your garage when an impact goes bad, right?
Yep.
You throw the impact away, go buy another impact, right? A couple $100.
Yep.
We're not talking a couple $100 here, like you're talking about equipment that the repair itself is probably going to be thousands, right?
For sure.
I mean, and as you said, Travis, you run into situations where people can't find the parts. So now they're retrofitting things that actually weren't designed for that machine to make the machine work.
Yep.
And, what cost does that come at, Because now you retrofit something. Now, who else knows about that machine?
Right.
Nobody. You're the person. So you can't even call somebody because you're the one who retrofitted it. You don't have a support network anymore. So you not only are you fixing something that potentially could nickel and dime you, but you now are also removing all the support that you had before because, well, how do I support something I didn't build?
And I've even had some of these customers that retrofit, like you're saying, some motors or whatever to them. And then once they get it running, it's running, but it's not running like it used to. So now they've got to relearn this machine and what its capabilities are.
Yeah, and that and I think there's some of us need to consider time is money, right?
Yep.
How much is your time worth as you sit there and screw around with this machine? Like, I think that's something that I've found is that I value my time more than a lot of other people, right? Like, I'll replace something rather than fix it if it seems to be, a timely repair.
Yeah.
It's just not worth my time, And I'm not saying that I value my time more than Grandpa did, but I think the world requires me to be, do more in less time. My grandfather's, era, right? He had more time on his hands in terms of people didn't rush around at the rates they are today. Like the expectations in today, I'm not saying that he didn't have plenty going on, but you're expected to do so much more with so much less in today's world.
I agree with that.
For sure.
And I think that, you think about, look at the work days, right? I mean, there was a time when Sundays were not a work day, right? It was family day. You went and did family stuff. And nowadays, most businesses are open 7 days a week.
Yep.
Most of us, I think I can probably speak for most of us in this room, work on a Sunday at some time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
right?
For sure.
And you look back at the time of when you used to fix things, like that was your day, right? You didn't do that. So I just look at it as like you're evolving with time. Chad, you look like you got something you wanted to throw in there. Did I cut you off?
No, we're good.
Okay. I didn't know if I cut you off there. But let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys think in today's world, we do more in less time? Do you guys think that's true?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because we have different systems and different things that we can do today that they probably didn't have back then. Things probably took a lot longer, diagnosis and stuff like that. But
Yeah. You think about the evolution of the world in general. Like, think about just transportation, right?
Yep.
Like, me and my wife were joking about this last week when we were traveling across North Dakota. And we were talking about, like, Lewis and Clark, like how long it took them to do stuff that we were doing. I went from one track to the next track to the next track to the next track every night, but we were covering hundreds of miles. And it was like we were in one country versus another country the next day, and it's like we were able to do something so quick. And we were laughing about, like, when we came upon, the Black Hills as an example, like being able to just navigate it so easily, right? And we had our map out, right? I mean, my phone told me which turn I needed to make, and I was never lost. But imagine doing it in the time when, like, none of that existed. You just were walking. You're gonna figure it out, right? Riding a horse, you're gonna figure it out, right?
Yeah, and you're kind of basing your directions on travel where the sun was in the sky. I mean, that's just
Well, my thing
a
is
weird thing to think about.
Could you
but-
imagine just walking along and then suddenly there's a giant cliff?
Yeah.
Like, well, crap. Can't walk across that. Like, yeah, what do? You just turn around. Well, how far back do I have to go before I go around the cliff?
Your whole
just
day,
start walking
Your whole
up-
day is wasted that you just walked.
Correct, exactly.
gotta do
Like,
it all over
but we knew that, like, okay, we're gonna, obviously we have bridges and we have all this stuff, but like, start thinking about that in your business. Think about the things you're doing in your business today that you couldn't do 10, 15, 20 years ago, right? Think about the internet. 20 years ago, you couldn't go research stuff on the internet. You couldn't go figure out a new product that easy. So yeah, you fixed your machine, right? Or you fixed your product because you didn't have all this information at your disposal. Nowadays, like, yeah, you can go to YouTube and watch anything you want and learn about anything you want. And so it kind of gives you the power to replace or to fix things a little easier than you used to be able to, right?
yep.
Yeah, and you can't just hop on your email and shoot an email to support at ShopSaver and get an answer to your question, right?
Right, yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
You have to just figure it out.
Correct. But then I think that's also why people are so willing to fix things they shouldn't anymore. It's because it's the internet and things like that have made it so easy for people to feel like they're an expert that, I'm just going to fix it again. And they keep fixing it, and then it makes them feel obligated to keep fixing it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a vicious cycle because guys get so prideful in it that they don't want to throw it away and realize that I'm just wasting time and money. I need to move on. Instead, I'll just keep spending all this money and this time because, I fixed it. Look at me, right?
Well, kind of a quick side story. This weekend, I have a saw that my dad gave me years ago.
Yeah.
Well, now he's passed, and so that saw means a little bit more to me. Hasn't had spark for years. It's points and condenser. I didn't even know what the hell that meant.
Oh, yeah?
I called my
point
local
system.
steel guy, and he says, no, they don't make that anymore. Go buy a donor saw. I said, there's got to be a better way. So I went and bought an ignition coil adapter kit. I took out the points and condensers, and I made it into an ignition coil like new saws. So I get this thing running. I'm all excited. But the saw's still a piece of crap. So now I've got probably 3.5 hours and $27 into it, and I'm still not happy with it because I obviously have new saws. But just kind of saying, like, sometimes it's not worth fixing something. Even though the saw has more sentimental value to me than anything,
Yeah.
I'm going to give it away because what the hell am I going to do with this saw when I got 2 new ones that will twice outperform this thing? But at least I got it running.
I'd give it to your kid.
I actually told my wife, I said, I got 3 chainsaws now, so each one of us have one.
I'm sure she was thrilled.
She was not.
For the record, I do not recommend giving the saw to your kid. I just want to make sure I was
Or
very
my
clear
wife.
about that. Yeah, actually, you know what? I would not give it to your wife either. Yeah, that's a good call.
You'd probably lose a limb or two if you gave it to her.
But like you were saying, sometimes people feel like they're obligated to keep going now. So now I'm looking at them like, well, maybe it needs a new carburetor. Well, maybe it needs a new air filter. Before you know it, it's like at the end of the day, I might have $50-$60 into the saw, and I'd be lucky to sell it for that if I wanted to. So
Yeah, I think that's exactly the point, is that people get so into it that it's like, you've spent all this money on this saw. How much is it going to cost you to buy a new one?
and I already have 2 other like brand new ones. So it's like for me, it was a worthless thing other than just sentimental value.
Yeah, I think CNC machines is a good area for people to look at this stuff, though, is because you know, there are a lot of used machines out there and a lot of shops that are running stuff that's 10, 20 years old. And I see people spending so much time fixing old broken ways rather than just replacing them. They don't even realize like how much slower that machine is.
Right.
Right? I mean, Chad, you and I were talking about that. Like, people don't know how bad it is when they don't know anything else, right?
Exactly.
And do you think that's largely due to the cost? Or why do you think they're like so willing to like just continue to push themselves on that used equipment or that older equipment?
Just
Comfort?
being comfortable with what they already have, I'm assuming, would be my guess. It's like, it's already there. It's already in place.
It's convenience kind of a thing, yeah.
It's convenience, comfort.
Yeah. Like
People don't like change.
that's I think, yeah, say what Chad's saying is basically that's that fear of change, right?
This is my, it's like
This is my
constantly
world.
fixing a car when you know you should just light it on fire.
That's aggressive. I don't think of lighting on fire is where I go usually.
Or a boat, you know, when you should just get rid of a boat.
Yeah.
You want to sink
Been
it.
there.
Travis, tell us about your boat. No. Yeah, you know, I think, you know, again, it goes back to drills are relatively cheap to replace, but a machine is more expensive. So I think people are willing to invest more time and energy into them. And sometimes they don't know how to draw the line of where too much time and energy is being devoted to it.
Yep.
And I think that's the hardest thing is I feel like it's a lot easier, like, again, in your household appliances, right? When the microwave doesn't work, it's an easy, like, well, I'll just replace it, right? It's like an easy, there's a line in the sand. But I don't feel like that line in the sand exists with bigger items, like your car or with your, you know, it's like people really have a hard time, like, justifying getting rid of it when it's broken. Well, if I fix it, I could sell it then, you know, I could do, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's always and then they get it fixed. Well, I'm not going to sell it. It's working now. Why would I sell it? Right?
Yep.
That's the funny thing is when you get the guy that you quote, he's like, oh, I got my machine working. And then 6 months later, he comes back. I need the quote again. My machine's down.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, it'll be some little stupid thing he gets fixed. And then 3 months later, oh, my machine's down again. It's like fire started all over and he needs a new quote. It's like, well, why are you doing this to yourself?
You know, it's funny because we've all quoted those guys.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
those guys are.
I'm sure I still have a few sitting there.
Oh, yeah. They're my favorite because they'll come back to you about every 6 to 9 months because their machine broke down and let them down. And God dang it, I need to move on until they get it fixed. And
I
then,
need your
you know,
machine right now.
Yeah.
I don't have time to wait for the lead time right
Like,
now.
if you're that dependent on it, then why are you waiting for it to keep breaking down on
If you
you?
would have bought it 3 quotes ago, you had it
Exactly.
by now.
That's right. That's my favorite. Is then by the time they finally decide they're going to do it, the price has gone up 10%.
I was
They're
gonna
super
say,
mad about it. Like,
$5,000 cheaper back then.
you're like, dude, like if you would have just bought it the first time, you wouldn't have spent the $5,000 you did on your other
Yeah.
machine. You know, like
Yep.
we would have been fine. But you know, you got to talk about it. It's making the business decision, right? Do you think that if you use a tool for business, you should expect more from it? You know, than if it's for fun. You know, I guess. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
If it's for business, I would expect a lot more out of something than if it's just like my thing for fun.
Yeah.
100%.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think for me, yeah, if I'm investing in the business, I expect more out of whatever I invest in.
Unless you're investing in the business, not working out.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But, you know, I think there's a lot of people that are, and the reason I bring that up is because people will invest in like cheap products. Oh, I'm going to buy this cheap machine and then see if I can, you know, if I can get by and then I'll buy the better one. Like, why would you do that to your business? Like, I'm going to buy the one that's going to possibly fail and then I'll replace it when I need to. No, you're not. You're going to put yourself in a situation where you got a deadline and you're trying to fix a machine that doesn't work. And then you're just throwing money away.
Yep.
Like, I think that's the worst excuse ever. Like, I'll just do this to get by.
Like you could have put that $10,000 or $15,000 towards purchasing the right machine instead of just throwing it away on something that's not going to work. And you're saying that you think it's going to work or hope it's going to work. Obviously, you can see that it's not going to, right?
That's my
Like
thing.
if you have that doubt in your mind right away that, oh, we'll see if this works, and if not, then I'll come buy yours. Well, you shouldn't be buying something that you have that somewhat doubt in the back of your mind that it's not going to work, right?
It does happen sometimes. You know, we don't win every deal. So I have customers that's like, oh, it'll get me by. It'll do what I...
Travis doesn't win every deal.
ShopSaver.com.
They'll be like, this will just get me by for now. It's like, this is for a business. This machine is what you're relying on to keep your business alive. And you're saying it's just going to get you by.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's your business, it's your livelihood, it's your
Right.
reputation.
Right.
I mean, you're putting everything into something
Your wife,
that
your
might not work for
kids,
you. Like,
you know, everybody is
doesn't make any
relying on you.
sense.
Yeah.
I think any product you spend money on, I will say that though, just because it's for fun or for my business, like I still expect service. Like it should come with good support. It should come with value. If it doesn't, I generally don't buy it. Like I'm not one of those guys that's gonna buy shit products. Like I'm just not that guy.
I was about to say, I don't think you guys go out shopping for used mills.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a used mill get dumped off here before.
No, again, we don't do it because I'm buying somebody else's headache. It's used. Same to you, bro. Peace be with you.
Thought he was throwing up gang
That's
signs.
why I had to say it to him. He threw numbers at me. I saw it. For anybody listening, because you can't see what just happened. Kyle's in the background, threw some hand signals up in the air, so I just had to tell him peace be with him.
I almost grabbed my gat.
But honestly, like I think about that and it's like, there's just so much more like in these products that you have to think about. And it's like, why would you invest in something that you can't trust? Like, I don't know. Like you said, we don't go out and buy used mills because our business depends on, I don't know what's going on out there right now. But,
They are happy.
yeah, there's a lot of happiness going on outside.
Must be lunchtime.
Lunchtime.
Yeah, but no, I would say like you said, the used mill. Yeah, could I save some money up front? Probably, but what happens when it breaks down? Am I going to be able to explain to our customers? Oh, I'm sorry, we can't build your machine today because I bought a used mill. Like no, like they're going to be pissed about it. Like I'd rather not have cut corners trying to get by and then have bigger problems. It's going to cost me more money because I'm going to have to outsource work or I'm going to have to pay somebody to come in here and fix that mill on an emergency time frame because I can't be down. All of it adds up down the road. So any money I save today, I'm not saving tomorrow.
Yep.
It's going to cost me it. I'm going to spend more money long term. You know, I think cheap products often don't build success, right? I think cheap products get you started and then you end up having to find yourself a dependable product. You know, like you end up spending more. And I'm not saying that cheap products aren't good. I mean, there's cheaper lines of products you can buy. Cheap can be two things, right? Poorly built and something you don't want to own, or affordable.
Yep.
And I think affordable products exist. I mean, even ShopSaver, as an example, you go to our website. ShopSaver.com. When you go out to our website, we have different levels, right? We have different levels of machine depending on your budget. And as an example, you know, the 23 and the RC are really, really good products for their classification. They are not going to do the same thing that a Pro or an IS will do head to head, right?
Correct.
Can they do similar work? Yes. But they're not going to be the same speeds. They're not going to be the same feeds. They're not going to have the same overall life expectancy. But they're an American-made product that you can get yourself into and get yourself started without having to worry about throwing away something after a year, right?
Yep.
That's the advantages of something like that. But then there's products that they compete against that literally in a year or two, you know they're going to be throwing away.
You put them together like an erector set, a lot of them.
Yeah, there's machines that we compete against that people have to put together themselves. And then you think about that. Like we, for a very similar price, do the labor.
Yep.
Like you think about that alone. Like for a price point, if you're not saving 100% over what these things are, like you're not saving enough. Because we're doing the labor. We're doing things that the other company's expecting you to do.
And then you're relying on yourself to do it right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you support yourself. You're your own engineer. You can't call somebody and yell at them because your machine doesn't work. You're the one that put it together. With ours, you just get it. It's assembled. It's tested. And if you have a question or a concern, you just call our team, and they're going to walk you through step by step.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the ShopSaver products for a second. You know, for one, what sets us apart from everybody else?
American made.
American made. I mean, that's one huge part of it, and we are very proud of that. We're, you know, American made. We, you know, design things purposely so they last. It's our name on it. We're not importing a product. We can't point the finger somewhere else, right? We're telling you that you're buying a ShopSaver. We want that machine to work every day you turn it on. So the difference is you're going to get a machine that lasts, you know what, 2 to 3 times longer, you guys would
At
say?
least, yeah, that's what I would say.
At least.
Yeah. I mean, you know, 2 to 3 years is what some machines last.
Yep.
Can you imagine that, buying a product that's only going to be in your building for 2 years?
Especially if you only saved $5,000 versus our product.
Yeah. Then you're stuffing money into it, right? You're either replacing parts or fixing it, or your time. You're moving things out of the building, trying to relearn stuff, reprogram. Like the headache that goes into that in 2 to 3 years, like, is what I can't believe people look past.
Well, it defocuses you from what you should be focusing on too.
Yeah.
If you're constantly worried about your equipment in your business, how you focus on getting new business.
There isn't a product we build that isn't intended to last over 10 years. 10 years. Like in 10 years, your business has hopefully grown quite a bit by then. But imagine where you're going to be in 2 years. Like I try to tell people that. Like when you look into the future, how many people just look 2 years down the road?
Not a lot, I don't think.
No, I think all of us, when we think about the future, we think about 10 years. Where am I going to be in 10 years, right? Like you expect big change in 10 years. But in 2 years, are you going to be prepared to do this all over again?
It's a lot of stress.
Dude, I wouldn't want it.
2
So-
years. 2 years goes by in no time at all. I mean, that's
Right.
It's a big investment to redo after 2 years.
Especially with these machines that are going to lose probably 50% or more of their value in that 2 years.
Yeah, and I was just going to say what Chad said, that's a lot of stress, in 2 years to add to your plate. Could you imagine that, making a decision today? Like, think about that with your house. I'm going to do something, but in 2 years, I got to move.
Like the aerospace mill.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I got to get another one.
In 2 years.
The thing's wore out. What a nightmare that would be.
Yeah, like, no thanks. Like, you think about that, though. Like, when you buy a house or you buy a building, you're not thinking about, we got to get by for 2 years. Like, you think about things long term, right? You should be the same way with your equipment. What can I own today that's going to be here in 10 years? If I have to move on sooner, that's fine. But I want to know that I moved on for my own needs, not because the equipment forced me to.
And if nothing else, you're keeping that first machine because you're so busy, you're adding another one to it, not getting rid of one.
Well, yeah, and the other thing about it is, if I have to sell something in 2 years, right, or 3 years, do you want to sell something that has good support, has quality, has a product that works, or do you want to try to sell something that's beat up, doesn't run, and you got to explain to them they got to go retrofit parts?
Right.
definitely the first one. Definitely.
I mean, the value is just something you have to think about as a business owner. And my thing is, you don't know, as you're sitting there thinking about this, like, you don't know where you're going to be in 2 years. You don't know what the economy is going to do. We don't know what the world's going to do. We don't know, we don't know what we don't know. But knowing that you don't have to replace your machine is a great piece of mind. Like when I'm sitting there going, I know the machine's here, so regardless, I have some versatility, right? If something changes in my business, I'm going to have the machine. I don't got to worry about hiring more employees. I still have the machine. But if the machine goes down in 2 years, now you have to either hire employees or replace the machine. Mm-hmm. And you don't know what the world's going to look like. I'd rather buy a machine today that I know is going to be here.
Right.
Well, in 10 years sounds a lot better than even 5. Like,
Right.
let's say they double the normal length of ownership of one of those machines and have it for 4 or 5 years. So I'd still rather own a machine for 10.
Yeah. I think that's exactly the situation that, like, even if you can get one of these import products to last 5 years, it's still not that long.
It's definitely not 10.
Definitely not 10. Yeah, I mean, when you compare that stuff. And I think, so for me, today's episode is really about wasting time. It's really what it comes down to. Stop wasting time fixing crap that you should have given up on months ago. Replace that machine that's giving you guys fits. You got an employee in there that's getting pissed off. I'm going to be honest with you.
Right.
Somebody's getting tired of fixing that machine. Somebody's getting tired of watching you waste so much time trying to fix a machine that barely works when it does work.
Maybe you have an employee that's pissing you off and you need to get a better machine.
Yeah, there you go.
To replace both of them.
Well, there's that, right? We have that story one time. I may or may not have had that situation. No, but I've seen that. I'll be honest. When I was in sales, Chad's joking around about it, but when I was in sales, I had a customer that I worked with, and he was pretty adamant that he was going to replace an employee with a machine, and I may or may not have reminded him of that during the demonstration of it. Like, hey, remember that guy you don't like? You can get rid of him. But it's the truth, though. I mean, the CNC machine does things that people just can't do. And there's a lot that the machine brings to the table that even your best employees will appreciate it. Any good employee in your business is going to appreciate a CNC machine being there and the technology, because the technology makes everybody more successful. And a good employee should want success for the business. I mean, I feel firmly about that any good employee should always be proactively looking after your business.
Correct.
And if they're fighting you on the fact that you're trying to make the business better, then are they really helping your business grow? No, they're trying to control it. And so your good employees get pissed off when you're wasting time and money and doing things with a piece of equipment that they can see already that you should have given up on.
Yep.
Because they know how much that's stunting the growth of the business. They know how much time and energy they're all wasting. They don't enjoy working nights and weekends. They don't want to work overtime because the machine let them down again. Like, they would rather have a piece of equipment in there that they know they can count on. And I'll promise you, they'll appreciate being able to pick the phone up and call somebody who actually is going to be able to walk them through any questions they have.
Yep.
That's the number one thing I hear about from our tech support team. And the reviews I get is I get so many reviews from customers that write me emails and leave me voicemails saying, even while I was out on vacation this last week, like I got 2 of them this last week from people just thanking me for the team that we have, telling me that, it's so nice to be able to call a tech support team that's knowledgeable and understands what we're working on and solves our problems. Like, having somebody that you can count on is underappreciated. Being able to call the company that actually sold you the machine and actually get an answer on the product that you're working with, I think you'll find that your employees are going to be a lot happier knowing they can learn more with their machine when they can have time to use the machine rather than having to fix it.
I agree. They're not going to feel as behind if like a failure happens.
Correct.
That feeling of working from behind is never a good one.
Well, I think the biggest thing too with that is you're so scared while you're working. Because okay, if anything goes wrong, we're going to be in trouble on this project.
He's going to think I did it.
Exactly, right? They're so worried that you're going to, you, the owner of the business, is going to get mad at them, or the manager is going to get mad at them because they fell behind, when the reality is they only fell behind because of the system or the equipment that you make them use.
Yep.
So rather than putting time and energy into fixing something that you could, potentially upgrade, I think that's something you need to start thinking about is what is the repercussions long term? One repercussion is you could lose a really good employee. They're just not going to want to do the stress anymore.
And they're hard to find.
Right now, they're really hard to find.
Yep.
We have some really good ones here, too, that you can count on. So, like I said, our support team, I would say, is second to none.
Second to none. I agree.
Absolutely.
We have an incredible support team. We've actually been expanding. We have some new guys right now. Giovanni just joined us not too long ago. He's
He goes by Gio.
Gio, yep.
Just kidding.
He's pretty awesome. Like I said, he's joined our team recently. We have Adam.
Yep.
Adam's joined the team recently. So we've expanded the support network. We're getting better there too for you. So just like you guys, we continue to get better and try to provide that support that you can count on. And I think a big part of who Shop Saber is it's the support. It's the people.
I agree. It's one main number to call. You're not waiting to get called back or not getting someone to pick up the phone right away. You're getting real people.
Yeah, well, because we don't know if it's the next sale coming in or if it's the tech support, right? It's the same number for everybody.
Yep.
I think that's a big thing, Travis. I mean, you've seen it where customers with other companies will start their own Facebook pages in order to help each other get support
Isn't that crazy?
versus being able to call the place that they purchased it from.
And the fact that these people think it's okay that they have to go that route to get support is more mind-blowing than anything.
Or like that's normal.
Right.
I get people that get mad at me on our Facebook group because we have a private user group. I get people that get mad at me because they post a question during business hours of like, hey, saw this happen today, blah, blah, blah. And I just respond back, have you called support? And they get super irritated, like, oh, no, I just wanted to ask you. I'm like, I have a support team. Just call us. We'll solve the problem.
Right.
Like, no reason to wait for a long answer. Like, just call us. Let's figure it out together. And then they get upset because they think I'm like taking away from them. I'm like, no, you can ask all you want, but I'm just trying to solve your problem.
Right.
Like,
you might get some opinions here
Yeah.
where you can actually get true tech support by calling our
but
team.
I think they get so used to it that they had to go online for all the other stuff that's just their go-to.
Yep.
And it's like, I literally have a group of people standing by right now ready to take your call. Let's just make life easy on you.
Yep.
That's what I got today.
It was a good episode.
I think, yeah, it was good.
Almost as good as last week.
Almost, not quite.
Fair enough. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that because I was driving and didn't have the greatest cell reception. So my guess is I've missed something.
It's probably a good thing if your kids were in the car because Kyle didn't remember how to use the beep button, so the kids might have heard some stuff they shouldn't hear.
The beep button. I don't even know where the beep button is. I forgot it.
We removed it.
We removed it. That's
This
good.
is swear friendly now.
Swear friendly. I like it. I like it. Yeah, no, it's, honestly though, like I said, I had a lot of fun last week, but there's something about being back in the office. Like it's just nice to be back doing things that you love to. Like I said, I love what we do every day and I love helping customers and coming back and seeing the excitement. Like I came back, like I said, to those, I had 2 messages from customers just bragging about who we are and what we do. And, we got one today. Nick, I think you sent me over an email today about, another one that just came in today. And it's just like, that's the things that Shop Saver brings to the table that I absolutely just love.
And you can just admit it. You missed us.
2 of the 3.
Sorry, Nick.
Funny, he was looking at me and Chad when he said that.
Yeah. I missed 2 out of the 3. You can figure out who the third is, Travis. No, it was, honestly, it's a good time, though. Like I said, I appreciate everybody listening to us. Hopefully you've thought about something today. Hopefully it made you revisit the idea of fixing stuff that's maybe been giving you a hard time. And I'm pretty sure I got 2 guys sitting here on this podcast alone that would be happy to answer any questions, don't I?
Absolutely.
How can they get a hold of you guys?
Well, you can either call us or you can email me at travis@shopsaber.com.
Mine is Chad at shopsaber.com.
And of course, you can follow us out on
MySpace.
MySpace. That was it. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube,
Twitter.
LinkedIn, Twitter. I think we're pretty much on most
All of
social
it,
media
yeah.
networks. Yeah. So make sure you're out there. We got some exciting stuff coming.
Twitch.
What?
I don't know. I just learned about it.
I don't think we have a Twitch. Okay, we don't have that one. But no, Jose and Kyle are killing it right now. They're doing a bunch of cool stuff. We have a new website, guys, coming. Is that true? Is that what I heard? That we have a new website launching here soon?
Kyle's nodding his head yes.
Yeah. They're
agreeing.
saying within a couple months we should have the new shopsaber.com. Hey, wait a second. Where's that button? I have a button for this. Hold, please. Please hold.
We wore it out last week.
Yeah, so did you guys wear it out? It's gone. I don't know. There's a button. Oh, there it is. Shopsaber.com. Found it. So we'll have a new website coming. Pretty excited about that. We got some new videos coming very soon. We have a new project that we just launched last week. We're looking for some customers of ours. So if you are listening and you're a customer and you want to be a part of this new project coming up, telling your story about your business and who you are, reach out to marketing@shopsaber.com. They will be more than happy to discuss that project with you and get you included on that. So did I forget anything, guys? Anybody?
I'm
I'm thinking all the points.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Make sure to hit up the YouTube and check out our Meet the Staff posts that are going up every week. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very entertaining. Kind of get to know the faces behind the phone calls and emails you guys make.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Brittany was last week.
Yeah.
She crushed it.
It was great.
Awesome episode. Who's this week?
The Brian, the paint supervisor.
Brian in paint.
Yeah.
Like it. We're going to see what happens with that.
Seems like a pretty funny guy, outgoing guy.
Are you going to be in there filming while he's painting? It's going to just be like just a cloud of paint all around them while they're trying to talk to him. It's like, I can't stop painting, so I'm going to keep talking to you while we're painting. Can't see him. No, it'll be fun. Like I said, I appreciate everybody tuning in. And like I said, we'll be back with the next episode next week, won't we?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be here all week. All week this week, boys.
There's only 4 days left.
I know. That's why I'm excited about it. 4-day week for me.
I'm off Thursday and Friday. I will not be here all week.
Oh,
You're off Thursday, too?
I didn't know he was off Thursday either.
Where's the applause button?
Where's the applause button? It's right. What is use that one?
That works. That works.
That's better, right? With that, I'm Brandon.
I'm Chad.
I'm Travis.
I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle. We got it. Thanks for talking shop with shops here.